What's going on, guys? Big Bad Wolf here. Today I've got a video for some of you newer guys who just started either last wipe or this wipe, and maybe you don't know what direction to go in the beginning. You need some guidance on what the most efficient way to what things you should prioritize, how you should play early wipe, that sort of thing. So I've got a list of 5 items, and these 5 items are meant to make you a better, more efficient early wipe player. And can help you immensely late wipe. So I'm going to run through this list. A lot of these things are things that I've learned on my own, either just through trial and error myself, or efficiencies that I've found, or I see other pro players do. So Landmark Pastilli, some tips that I see them throw out there. So anyways, let's go through this list. Again, 5 items, and so, feel free. This is more of a talking head video. I'm going to put some gameplay on in the background, but feel free to throw on some headphones and just listen in. So, number 1 is you should prioritize your tasks in the beginning, okay? So, you want to level those vendors up as soon as you can. Vendors are so key, and the reason for that is because you'll get way better pricing on guns, ammo, things like that from the vendors. If you're relying completely on the flea market, you're going to end up paying way more and spending way more on your builds than you would with the vendors. So getting them leveled up so you have the most equipment available to you is going to be absolutely key. And then when you get items out of raid that are found in raid, you can sell them on the flea, and then when you get the money from them from the sale, you can then just buy that same item back from the traders, and you make the margin profit there. So kind of a big brain play, but again, number 1, prioritize those tasks. Really want to start knocking those out. 2, get familiar with the task items. So what I mean by that is a lot of the tasks are, turn in X item found in raid, or get, flash drives, for example. If you know and have an idea of what you're going to need to do, you can just start playing the game and focusing on other tasks. And as you come across these scavenger hunt items, you can just get them and keep them in your stash and don't sell them. And just when that task comes up, you'll then already have the item that you need to turn in. This is really huge, especially if you're going for Kappa. So a good I guess example of this is, so for the final task, one that you need for fence, the fence is only task for Kappa, you have to turn in one of each streamer item. There's a couple that you don't have to, but there's a ton of items that you do have to turn into fence to receive the Kappa container. So if you're going for Kappa, you want to start getting those items day 1. So, if you find a Pastilli mask, or you find an axe, or any of these items, they all have to be found in raids. So if you find these things, you may as well start getting them now. That way you're not trying to grind them all at the very end, when you've had all this time. And that goes for any of these tasks. Like I said, I use the flash drive one as an example. When you're early on, the flash drive task is fairly early, but when you're early on, you may as well start getting these flash drives, so that way you can turn them into skier as soon as you get the task. Same with the Urshka lunchboxes, same with the Tashankas, all these different things. You start gathering those day 1. It's going to make you a breeze early on for these tasks, and you won't have to spend all this time just hoping you can find them when you do come across, when that task is available to you and active. So definitely something you want to do. Get familiar with the tasks, what items you're going to need. That way you can keep them in your stash for when that time comes when you need to turn them in. Number 3, lose the gear fear, okay? Gear fear is such a real thing, especially with new players. You get all these really good items, and you either play scared or you don't play with those guns or armor or whatever it is you have. You want to hoard them, and you don't want to give them up, so you never use them. Lose that mentality, okay? Use your equipment. Use your best equipment. This is so key, because you're going to end up setting yourself back so much by not using good equipment. For example, if you have good armor in your stash, or a good gun, good ammo, whatever it is, and you're not using it, it's not helping you out, okay? So when you're grinding these tasks and you're doing things like getting items for Prapor, where you know, and the one where you have to get the case in the big red warehouse, and then you've got to set it in factory, like that's a 2-part task that can end up taking you forever if you're running weak loadouts. You know, if you're running a weak loadout and you keep getting the case and then dying, or you get the case, you escape, and then you go to factory and you die on factory, trying to set the case because you have crappy guns, crappy armor, or you're just pistol running, you're going to end up spending so much more time because of your gear fear than if you were to just come in kitted and get those items. You give yourself the best chance too, because then if you do get into a gunfight, especially early wipe, if you have good equipment, most people don't. So if you're using that good equipment, that's a huge edge, especially early wipe, and that edge starts to go away as the wipe progresses. So as you get deeper into the wipe, you know, more people are going to have better ammo, they're going to have better armor, that sort of thing. So use that edge in the beginning, use that to your advantage. You know, get kitted up, use your weapons. If you lose it, yeah, it stinks, but it's not the end of the world, and it's better to lose it early wipe. That way, you know, if you do have to use crappy loadouts, at least everyone else is pretty much on par with you. But if you don't have to use crappy loadouts, don't, because that's going to be your edge. So again, lose that gear fear. Number 4, build up your hideout. This is something that not a lot of new players do. A lot of new players, you know, they go in, they understand the task piece, and they do work towards some of the tasks, but they don't build their hideout. And hideout is almost just as key as the vendors, because there's a lot of things you can make and do in the hideout that are going to make it immensely more efficient for you. You're going to end up spending a lot less money in the long run. So definitely work on getting the pieces to your hideout, work on building that up early on. So that way you can use these, and a lot of the task items you can build in your hideout, so it'll save you a lot of time that way too. So again, build it up. Number 5, loot everything. Okay, don't just breeze through the map and just, you know, look for one item and then get out. You know, if you're passing crates or you're passing you know, scav bodies or things like that, loot it all, man. Get their armor, get the random things that you don't think that you'll need that you probably do need for crafting, or for hideout, or things like that. So again, loot everything. Try to take as much as you can and fill your stash up early. That way you have a lot of equipment, you have a lot of items that you need to craft, and if you need it for a quest, you'll have it in your stash as well. So that's something that's really big. And kind of wrapping back to the top here, the task piece. As you get more experienced with the tasks and, you know, what is needed for the hideouts and things like that, you'll become a lot more efficient. And what I mean by that is you'll realize that you can activate 2 or 3 tasks and get them all done in one raid. So, you know, a lot of them kind of overlap in things you need. So, you know, Therapist needs you to kill 15 scavs on customs, but Prapor also needs you to get a bunch of items on customs, or mark the oil tankers and those sorts of things. So knock them both out at the same time. Turn the Therapist task on so you can kill scavs and get credit for those. And while you're, you know, this is all stuff you can be doing while you're knocking out the Prapor tasks. So you'll find these overlapping pieces a lot, and that's just one example. There's a lot of tasks where they kind of overlap like that, and so pay attention for those, and then you can breeze through tasks. This is why when you watch a streamer and it's like a weekend and they're already halfway done with all the tasks, it's because they know all these little efficiencies and things that they need to look for and items they need to keep, and how they can knock out 2 tasks at the same time or 3 tasks at the same time. So that'll come with time, but, you know, if you see those types of opportunities, and there's a lot of them early on in the tasks, definitely try to do it that way, because it'll be a lot better. And again, if you're using good gear, it'll make the tasks even easier. So again, this was just some thoughts I had on my mind. I know I see a lot of newer players that make these mistakes, or they don't know how really direction-wise where to start, where to go first. You know, some of them think they've got to get a bunch of loot and gear before they can start the tasks, or some think that, you know, I'm going to do my tasks, so I'm not going to use any of my gear there's a balance there. So again, just wanted to throw these out there, give some of you newer guys some direction. And I'm curious if there's anything that I missed, or some of you experienced players, if you're watching this, feel free to throw down your tips down below. I'd love to hear them as well. I know there's a lot more that I could put on this list. It could be 100 items long. I just wanted to sum it up into 5. But again, I hope this was helpful for you guys. And if you please could like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll have more content like this coming. I hope you guys are doing well in your early wipe here. All right, see you guys next time.